Imagine a universe that never truly dies. Galaxies drift silently across the void. Stars burn for billions of years and then fade into darkness. Supermassive black holes consume the last remnants of matter. Trillions of years from now, the universe will contain nothing but massless particles drifting endlessly. Time itself will lose meaning. This cold, empty cosmos is mathematically identical to the fiery singularity of a new Big Bang, where death becomes creation, and the end of one universe sparks the birth of another. Before the Big Bang, there was nothing, or at least what we call nothing. Even in a perfect vacuum, quantum fluctuations create particles out of the void. Tiny bubbles of space spontaneously appear, almost vanishing instantly. But occasionally, one bubble inflates rapidly, separating from the quantum foam. This bubble becomes reality, igniting the Big Bang. Gravity's negative energy perfectly balances the positive energy of matter, creating a universe from absolute nothingness. Existence itself is a statistical miracle. The singularity of the Big Bang may not have been a beginning. Instead, the universe may have experienced a big bounce. Space itself is quantized, made of indivisible loops. As the previous universe collapsed, density reached the quantum limit. Gravity turned repulsive, and the cosmos rebounded violently. What we call the Big Bang is the exhalation of a dead universe, reborn in a cycle of endless cosmic death and resurrection. Perhaps we are the debris of a previous universe, awaiting our own future collapse. As the universe rebounded from its collapse, an immense surge of energy spread across space. This was not just an explosion, it was a rebirth. Space began expanding rapidly, carrying matter and radiation outward. Temperatures were unimaginably high, and particles formed in chaotic motion. What we call the Big Bang may actually be the moment of this Elohim bounce. From the ashes of a dead universe, a new cosmos was born, expanding, evolving, and shaping the reality we now observe. As the universe expanded, it began to cool. Energy transformed into matter, tiny particles forming atoms. Hydrogen and helium filled the cosmos. Gravity slowly pulled this matter together, creating the first structures. Clouds of gas collapsed into stars, and stars gathered into galaxies. From chaos came order. The universe was no longer just energy. It was becoming a structured, evolving system. Every galaxy we see today began from these early moments after the bounce. Over millions of years, the universe became more complex. Galaxies formed clusters, stars lived and died, and heavier elements were created. Inside these stars, the building blocks of planets and eventually life were forged. Explosions of dying stars scattered these elements across space. Slowly, the universe evolved into a rich and diverse system. What began as a violent bounce was now a place filled with light, structure, and endless possibilities. But the story may not end here. As the universe continues to expand, gravity still shapes its fate. Some theories suggest that expansion could slow down and eventually reverse. Galaxies may begin moving closer again. The universe could start collapsing back into a dense state, and when that happens, the cycle may repeat. Another collapse, another bounce, another universe. What we see today might just be one phase in an endless cosmic loop. As the universe continues to contract, everything begins to compress into an increasingly dense state. Galaxies collide, stars are torn apart, and matter is pushed closer together. Temperatures rise again, and space itself begins to shrink. The vast cosmos that once stretched endlessly is now collapsing into a single, concentrated point. This is not chaos, but a return to the same extreme conditions that once existed before the last bounce. As the collapse continues, density reaches an unimaginable level. Matter is compressed beyond anything we can truly understand. At this stage, classical physics breaks down, and quantum effects take over. Space is no longer smooth. It becomes discrete, made of tiny loops. This is the quantum limit. The universe cannot compress any further. The laws of nature begin to resist the collapse, preparing for another transformation. And then, it happens again. At the quantum limit, gravity no longer pulls inward, it pushes outward. The collapse stops and reverses. In a sudden, violent release of energy, the universe rebounds. Another big bounce begins. A new expansion starts, carrying matter and energy into a fresh cosmic cycle. What we once thought was the end becomes a beginning again. The universe is reborn, endlessly repeating its own existence. This process may not have happened just once. The universe could have gone through countless cycles, each one beginning with a bounce and ending in a collapse. Every star, every galaxy, every particle may have existed before, in a previous universe. Time, as we understand it, may not be linear. It could be circular, a never-ending sequence of birth, death, and rebirth. The cosmos is not a one-time event. It is an eternal rhythm. If this cycle is real, then traces of a previous universe might still exist. Some scientists believe that faint patterns in cosmic radiation could be echoes from before the last bounce, signals that survived the death of an entire universe. These whispers from the past may be hidden in the structure of space itself. If we can decode them, we might uncover evidence of a universe that existed before ours. So where do we fit into all of this? We are not separate from the universe. We are part of its cycle. The atoms in our bodies were forged in ancient stars, perhaps even in a previous universe. Everything we are is connected to this endless process. We are witnesses to a moment in a much larger story, a story that has no true beginning and no final end. One day, far beyond our time, the universe will begin to collapse again. Galaxies will fade, stars will die, and everything will move toward another nihaya. But this ending will not be permanent. It will simply prepare the universe for another beginning, another bounce, another expansion, another cycle. The future is not an end. It is a transition. Perhaps the universe never truly began, and will never truly end. It simply changes form, again and again. Every collapse gives birth to a new beginning. Every ending carries the seed of another universe. We are living inside an eternal cycle, a cosmic loop that repeats forever, and somewhere, in another time, this story is already happening again.